नमस्कार, म प्रकाश घिमिरे कार्यक्रम रूपान्तरणमा तपाईलाई स्वागत छ। दर्शकवृन्द, तपाईलाई थाहा छ हामी यो रूपान्तरण कार्यक्रममा समष्टिगत विकाससँग जोडिएका विभिन्न विषयवस्तुलाई विशिष्टीकृत ढंगले प्रस्तुत गर्छौं र विगत लामो समयदेखि विभिन्न टेलिभिजन च्यानलबाट प्रसारण हुँदै आएको यो रूपान्तरण कार्यक्रम अबदेखि सगरमाथा टेलिभिजनबाट यसै समयमा अर्थात हरेक शनिबार बेलुकी 8:30 बजे मूल प्रसारणको रूपमा अनि पुनः प्रसारणको रूपमा अन्य समयमा पनि नियमित रूपमा प्रसारण हुनेछ। आजको कार्यक्रममा हामी नेपालको पोषणको अवस्थाको बारेमा कुराकानी गर्छौं। पोषण भन्ने बित्तिकै हाम्रो पुरानो बुझाइ स्वास्थ्यसँग जोडिएको सवाल मात्रै भन्ने थियो, तर पछिल्लो समयमा यसको अवधारणा र यसको यथार्थ परिवर्तन भएको छ। यो हरेक विकास मुद्दाको सँग अन्योन्याश्रित सम्बन्ध राख्ने एउटा महत्त्वपूर्ण पक्षको रूपमा रहेको कुरा राष्ट्रिय अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय अध्ययन अनुसन्धानहरूले र नीति कार्यक्रमहरूले पनि प्रमाणित गरेका छन्। आज हामी यसै विषयमा कुराकानी गर्छौं र आजको हाम्रो कुराकानी अंग्रेजीमा हुनेछ। यो विषयमा कुराकानी गर्न हामीले युनिसेफ नेपालका पोषण प्रमुख स्ट्यानली चिटेक्वेलाई हामीले आज स्टुडियोमा निम्त्याएका छौं। उहाँ लामो समयदेखि करिब 2 दशकदेखि युनिसेफमा आबद्ध रहेर अफ्रिकाका विभिन्न मुलुकहरूमा उहाँले काम गरिसक्नु भएको छ र 1 वर्षभन्दा बढी लामो समय नेपालमा पनि पोषण प्रमुखको रूपमा युनिसेफमा कार्यरत हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँसँग आज हामी कुराकानी गर्छौं। Stanley, let me welcome you in our program Rupantaran.
Thank you very much.
Yes, today we are going to talk about the nutrition situation, challenges and initiative here in Nepal. UNICEF is making lots of efforts to address the nutrition issue in Nepal. You are the nutrition chief
Yes, sir.
of that organization. In this context, is malnutrition of development priority in Nepal? Do you think so?
Yes, thank you very much for having me and for asking this question. First of all, to understand nutrition, whether it is a development priority, we can start from the global level. You see that nutrition is actually one of the Sustainable Development Goals and also linked to the World Health Assembly goals. So it is a global goal, and these global goals, they link also to countries. So Nepal is one of the countries that are signatory to the Sustainable Development Goal. So naturally, nutrition becomes a priority. And then the second point is that if you look at nutrition indicators in Nepal, for instance, stunting, we still have stunting levels of over 37%, which means that almost 37 out of 100 children, they are short for their age, and this has an impact on not just their physical development, but also their mental development, and it also has future impact on the potential of the country to earn GDP per capita.
How the policy and programs of Nepal are linked to that spirit of sustainable development goal? What is your observation?
What is happening at the moment, we have a very strong policy framework for addressing malnutrition in Nepal, and we call it the Multi-Sector Nutrition Plan, the MSMP, and there are 7 ministries that have signed that policy plan, and it is coordinated by the National Planning Commission and led by the honorable member in the Planning Commission, Professor Joshi. So you see that there's very high level government commitment to addressing malnutrition and linking it to the Sustainable Development Goals.
Multi-sector nutrition plan was developed in the ground of Millennium Development Goal.
Yes.
But now we are following the Sustainable Development Goal. Does that multi-sector nutrition plan matches to the spirit of Sustainable Development Goal?
Yes, that's a very good question. What we are doing now from 2018 and beyond, we are working on a phase 2 of the multi-sector nutrition plan, and we are now linking this phase 2 of multi-sector nutrition plan to the Sustainable Development Goals. So we have actually started an exercise supporting the Planning Commission and other government ministries to go through a very systematic strategic planning process. We have already had 2 workshops so far. The first workshop, we were looking at the situation analysis, which we call deprivation analysis, against 6 indicators of the Sustainable Development Goals that include looking at stunting, looking at wasting, looking at anemia, looking at low birth weight, looking at wasting, and also looking at obesity in overweight in children. So definitely the first two is going to be very much perfectly aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals.
Do you mean that the nutrition or malnutrition is development priority in Nepal? If so?
It is a development priority for sure, and I think Nepal is leading globally in very, very concrete political will that is indicated through the leadership of the National Planning Commission.
Policy and program level, we are prioritizing the malnutrition and nutrition issue.
Yeah.
But in practice or in people's level, can we say the peoples are enjoying that program and policy?
Yes, that's a very good question. I think if we look at UNICEF, for instance, I mean, we've just signed a very big grant funded generously by European Commission to support the further implementation of the multi-sector nutrition plan in 28 districts. That's one. And then we also, as UNICEF, have already been also in 11 districts where we have been focusing on treatment of acute malnutrition. We also are supporting an additional 15 districts with infant and young child feeding, with provision of micronutrient powders. And then even more significantly and recent, two things have happened after the earthquake. We have also been supporting a very comprehensive package of nutrition intervention in 14 earthquake most affected districts. These programs are all reaching at the lowest level. And for us to be able to do that, we work through the structures that government has put in place.
We have good policy and programs.
Yes, sir.
To address the malnutrition and nutrition issue in the country.
Yes.
But problem is again rooted in the many part of the society, many part of the country.
Yes.
Why this is happening?
I think what we understand now is that when we have done a more in-depth analysis of the situation, you can divide the country into three typologies, which I can call typologies, in terms of how malnutrition is manifesting itself in the country. We have the whole area of the Tarai, where you have very high levels of wasting. Just having policies alone is not enough. And then I mentioned about three typologies of manifestation of malnutrition. So we have the Tarai with high wasting. Then you also have the far and Midwest, hills and mountains, where we also have very high levels of stunting. We also want to, in the multi-sector nutrition phase 2, to have very strong packages that address those challenges. And then the typology number 3, this is where we have less cases of stunting and wasting. We are talking about the west, the central and the east, the mountain and the hills. So in terms of priority, I think you will see a stronger focus now on the Terai, a stronger focus hopefully also on the far and Midwest mountain and hills.
Is it happening due to the geographic complexities, or it is because of socio-economic factor, power relations as you told, and other inclusion issues? Yes,
I mean, according to the causality analysis we've done, you will see that in the Terai, what we have understood a little bit is that the availability of food is not the issue in its own self, but there are other issues there that are undermining malnutrition or the nutrition of children. We're talking about the high frequency of illnesses among children. We're talking about conditions like diarrhea due to lack of clean, safe drinking water, poor sanitation. We're also talking about acute respiratory infections.
Let's talk about the Tarai region. So you just told that there is no problems of food availability and food access. The children and women are also becoming the victim of malnutrition. As you told, sanitation, awareness, food habits are some of the causes that are leading them to the malnutrition.
Yes.
Why that is happening?
So I think the easiest way to understand the causes of malnutrition, we have, I think, 3 levels of causes of malnutrition. We have what we call immediate causes, and there are 2 of them common ones. Number 1 is to do with the dietary intake. Number 2 is to do with illness. So these are immediate causes. So when we look at TARAI, our analysis, we've also analyzed those 2 factors. And in terms of illnesses, we saw that these are quite predominant and they need to be tackled. In terms of diet, I think it's to do with the diversity of diet around those 7 groups. It's also to do with the frequency of feeding, which means that the quantity of the diet is important. And then there is another level of causes which we call underlying causes, and there are 3 of them. Number 1, household food security. And like I said, this one is not a very significant one. And then number 2 underlying cause is what we call care for women and children. And this one is another big issue. And then number 3 cause is to do with access to health services and a healthy environment. Again, a healthy environment, this is where we talk about sanitation issues.
There may be one picture when we count the malnutrition in national level, but if we go to the particular sector, we can see the different pictures of the malnutrition. Yes?
Definitely. Yes.
If so, what can be done to improve the nutrition situation of children and women in the country?
Yes, I think that's a very, very good question, and this is what we are trying to tackle in MSMP Phase 2. The way we want
we are in process to formulate.
We are in the process of formulating
MSMP 2,
MSMP 2,
Multi-Sector Nutrition Plan 2.
Multi-Sector Nutrition Plan 2, and already we have had 2 workshops. We are left with 1 other workshop. So the first workshop, like I said, we went into a detailed analysis of the manifestation of malnutrition in the country, looking at how it manifests with geography, like you are rightly saying. And then I indicated the 3 typologies that are emerging as a result of this analysis. That's one. But let me highlight in terms of the Phase 2 policy. The Phase 2 policy, we are hoping to
Phase 2.
The Phase 2 Multi-Sector Nutrition Plan. We are hoping not just to have a policy that is just general for the whole country, but one that addresses the fact that malnutrition manifests differently in the far and Midwest mountain and hills. Malnutrition manifests differently in the Terai. Malnutrition manifests differently in the West, Central, East mountain and hills. So this policy, we are hoping to make it transformative in the sense that it will tackle these unique differences and it will have unique packages for these different geographic areas. And also it will focus on the causes of malnutrition in those particular areas. So we are going to move a little bit away from one-size-fits-all policy, but a very specific, very targeted, very much guided by the understanding of the causes of malnutrition in those particular areas.
What is the experience of MSMP first?
I think MSMP first.
We did good, or we missed many things, or
I would say
we
that
did average, or
I think it has been excellent in the sense that I will explain why. Of course, this is a self-assessment, but excellent doesn't mean there's no room for improvement. It's been excellent in the sense that
the policy was excellent.
It was excellent. If we didn't have the policy and some of the implementation that started after we had MSMP 1, we wouldn't have been able to respond very effectively to the earthquake.
After the formulation and endorsement of that policy or plan, lots of nutrition-focused projects and programs were also started in the country. What can we say about the result and performance of these various activities related to nutrition? So
there are 2 ways that we are looking at the results of this. I mean, each of these programs have had their own evaluations, and many of them have shown substantive impact. Multiple indicator cluster survey of 2014, it had reduced to 37%. So you see kind of a very steady decline in this problem of malnutrition overall. even though what we've realized also is that we need to accelerate our actions if we are going to accomplish the Sustainable Development Goals, because we have to reduce stunting at the 37% level to 25% by 2025. For us to accomplish that, we have to scale up our programs, we have to accelerate our action, and this is what we are hoping to achieve in MSMP Phase 2.
Nepal is following multi-sectoral approach to implement the nutrition-related programs and activities. Is it happening in the global context or only in Nepal?
In the global, that's a good question. In the global context, I mean, the Lancet 2013, I think has been the biggest global guidance that we have received. And in that, what came up as a strong policy recommendation was that in order for countries to be able to reduce malnutrition, they need 3 core broader interventions, what they are calling nutrition-specific interventions, which are traditionally implemented through the health sector. But then they recommended the second group of interventions, which are called nutrition-sensitive. And this is where the multi-sector argument comes. And the third element of that recommendation was to have an enabling policy environment, which in our case we now have through the National Planning Commission, and that's why we are also now driving the Phase 2 of the multi-sector nutrition plan.
Do you think that the global approach of multi-sectoral initiative is reflected in our MSNP document?
It is actually well reflected. And
reflected, okay. Our nutrition-related activities are implemented abiding by the multi-sectoral nutrition plan.
That's correct.
If so, policy is reflecting the international multi-sectoral approach.
That is correct, yes.
Can we say that plan is reflected in our program?
Yes, the plan, the multi-sector approach plan is reflected also in the way we are doing business.
You already told some nutrition-related program and activities implemented in Nepal.
Yes.
I mean, are these programs and projects implementing by entirely following the multi-sectoral approach, or they are moving to some extent isolation as well?
I think a lot of them, to be fair, I think what I can say that a lot of them are trying to address as many elements of the multi-sector as they are able to. So you will see some programs.
They are trying to address the multi-sectoral approach.
Exactly. So, but not necessarily all of them in its totality, because sometimes for practical reasons it's difficult.
How UNICEF is working to strengthen the multi-sectoral approach of nutrition and to maximize the degree of benefits to the targeted peoples? I
think this is now an issue of operational strategizing. I think some of the things we have attempted to do is, first of all, strong coordination at national level. So we do have a coordination committee at national level that meets every quarter. And all the different ministries are represented, and it's chaired by the National Planning Commission. That's one. And then at district level, we also have strengthened the capacity of the district development committees to make sure that in
all 75 districts?
In the 28 districts that we are focusing on, because we're doing it
28 districts are identified by the MSNP.
By the MSNP, yes. Yeah. So we are doing a phased approach, because if we go to all the districts for practical reasons, it's not possible. So we are prioritizing in a phased manner. So within the district level, like I said, is to strengthen also coordination within the district development committees.
Is UNICEF supporting government of Nepal to formulate the MSNP2?
Yes, in fact, we are playing a very leading role in that process, but not just UNICEF. I mean, support for nutrition, we also have what we call a UN network. So within that UN network, we have a WFP, World Food Program, we have WHO, World Health Organization, we have FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. So UNICEF and these other 3 sister agencies, we are all pulling our resources together to support the government to formulate the phase 2 of MSMP.
And we have also experience and learning of implementing the MSMP first. If so, what can we expect new in MSMP 2?
I think to understand it, I think the core elements of the interventions, we don't expect them to change much because those are standard and they are global, the nutrition-specific, sensitive, enabling environment. But I think what you will see is our attempt at making the policy transformative. There will be a stronger emphasis on equity. There will be a stronger emphasis on gender equality. There will be a stronger emphasis on social inclusion. So this is what I predict will be the stronger points. And I think it will be transformative in nature as opposed to be just a targeted across the board nutrition policy. We are driving towards making it transformative.
Until we encourage or motivate people to participate in every development process, obviously there will be gaps and there will be lots of challenges.
That's
and
correct.
It will ultimately affect the positive results.
That's correct.
In this context, how can we maximize the participation of peoples to implement the nutrition related activities so that people can be directly benefited with these nutrition related activities?
That's a very good question. I think one way that we are going to do it is our community approach, our approach to community work.
Okay.
So what we're going to do there is that we will not end our intervention at health facility level, but we will go down to work with the female community health volunteers. We know that this structure has a very good reach for women and communities.
Information is powerful tools to engage the peoples, to empower the peoples, which ultimately lead to the development activities in the successful direction. In this context, how can people, general people, get lots of informations or sufficient informations to know about the nutrition and malnutrition related activities situation? We
are also using the social media platform. So we have at the moment through MPC what we call the food and nutrition portal, and the address would be put on the screen. That's number one. And number two, we also have the UNICEF Nepal Facebook page, where we also post a lot of information. And then we have also the UNICEF Nepal website, where information can also be obtainable. And then we hope as we move forward, we will be more active on Twitter, on Facebook, and also on our food and nutrition portal to disseminate information that the public can use.
Last but not the least, do you have any message to tell our audience?
I think, first of all, to appreciate you for this time. One thing I would like to tell the audience is that nutrition is very important. Sometimes we take it for granted, but it's something very close to each one of us. Good nutrition for our children means that it's a better future for them. It means it's better physical development, mental development, and better future earnings. And then for women, good nutrition means also we reduce low birth weight, better outcome for their babies, a healthy baby, and then also a healthy future. And then for the mothers, good nutrition also means we reduce maternal death. So nutrition is very key to survival, and I appreciate the fact that we have started to talk about nutrition, and we hope this conversation in the media will continue.
Thank you very much for your valuable time and idea and information.
Thank you very much for having me.
दर्शकवृन्द, आज हामीले रूपान्तरण कार्यक्रममा युनिसेफ नेपाल कार्यालयका पोषण प्रमुख स्ट्यानली चिटेक्वेसँग कुराकानी गर्यौं। उहाँको कुराकानीको सार के हो भने हामीले जुन बहुक्षेत्रीय पोषण योजना को अवधारणाबाट न्युट्रिसन रिलेटेड कार्यक्रमहरू सञ्चालन गरिरहेका छौं, त्यो नीतिगत रूपमा हामी निकै राम्रो गरिरहेका छौं। विश्वको अवधारणालाई हामीले रिफ्लेक्सन गर्न सकिरहेका छौँ र कार्यक्रमहरू पनि त्यही आधारमा राम्रै तरिकाले बनाइरहेका छौँ। तर हाम्रो आर्थिक, सामाजिक, सांस्कृतिक र भौगोलिक विविधता र जटिलता जुन छ त्यसले गर्दा अझै पनि केही रिक्तताहरू छन् र त्यो रिक्ततालाई अब बन्दै गरेको बहुक्षेत्रीय पोषण योजना दोस्रो चरणले सम्बोधन गर्ने प्रयास गरिरहेको छ। उहाँले व्यक्त गरे अनुसार अब त्यो दोस्रो बहुक्षेत्रीय पोषण योजना पछि सञ्चालन गरिने कार्यक्रमहरूले रहेका रिक्तताहरूलाई पनि पूरा गर्नेछ र नेपालले यो क्षेत्रमा राम्रो प्रगति हासिल गर्न सक्नेछ। हवस् त यही निष्कर्षका साथ अनि यही कुराकानीका साथ आजको रूपान्तरण कार्यक्रम यहीँ टुङ्गिन्छ। अर्को हप्ता फेरि यसै समयमा तपाईँ हाम्रो भेटघाट हुन्छ। आजलाई रूपान्तरण युनिट बिदा माग्दछ। नमस्कार।